Howdy, 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 howdy. How's it going, everybody, here on this hump day, May 18th, 2016? Another edition of the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, wherever you get your podcasts from. I just want to say this out. Oh, by the way, hold up. Got the YouTube link going off at the same time. But hey, live commentary. What else is new? I do want to say this before we get started. I want to thank everybody that has taken the time to check out the show, whether it's on YouTube, iTunes, Stitcher, whatever. We've been getting a lot of great traffic and analytics over the past couple of weeks, and it's thanks to all you people that have been checking out. I could be more grateful and humble for the fact that you guys have checked this out. I appreciate for the old fans that I've had for the pro wrestling experience, but more importantly, just the good people that enjoy good wrestling talk. And I think that's what we bring to the table here each week, whether it's me, Adam, or when Ronnie comes on, or whenever the monkeys in the back with Sam makes her casual appearances on the show. I think we got something working here. So my thanks to you guys for checking out the show. But more importantly, to have this continue to grow momentum and actually get our names out there, we need more support. So if you like what we bring to the table, don't be shy about it. Just because you like our podcast doesn't mean you can't enjoy another person's podcast. It's like saying, oh, I hate Roman Reigns, but I can't enjoy the entire WWE. You know what I mean? So if you like what you like, advocate it. Let people know about it. Spread the word about the show. Me and Adam are more than grateful to read and respond to your feedback, whether positive or negative, and we enjoy your support for the show. So once again, thank you again. Like I said, I'm Josh Lopez. I'm the director of chaos in this wrestling talk show here. You can follow me on Twitter at WZJoshLopez. I do play-by-play articles for WrestleZone.com. That's what pays the bills on my end. But I'm here alongside my weekly correspondent, and one of my best friends in the world is the one and only Adam Daley from Wrestling With. What's up, good brother?
What's going on, Josh? Listen, guys, thank you. What Josh was saying at the beginning about, everybody tuning in, and listen, thank you so much, because one, it's a testament to what Josh has been doing for years now. And two, I think it shows that maybe you guys don't mind me. I do a lot of self-deprecating humor, guys, and I know that I throw a lot of shade my own way along with other people, but it does mean a hell of a lot, to me and to both of us, that you guys have been checking us out, really digging what we're doing. And please follow me on Twitter. I always make the joke, why do people follow me? But come on, guys. Of course, I like when people follow me, engage with me. I'm on there sometimes where I'll go through spells and, BS back and forth. But other places you can find me at Wrestling With, where I tend to be, I play host and I guess down the middle a little bit, and follow, I guess, on Wrestling Rumors. You can find me on there every once in a while too.
And you get some really good movie and TV references on the show as well on Wrestling With. It's always fun. I've been on the show. Who knows? Maybe I may hop on tonight since Lucha is only an hour. Maybe I'll hop on tonight.
Never know. I know that we might be going on a little late tonight, a couple minutes late. So if you guys do watch Wrestling With, and please make sure that you're over 18 or wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But but we might be going on a little late because I'll be doing the Wrestling Rumors pod this week too with Matt McCool. Shout out to Matt. Thank you. And yes, we might be a little late, but Josh, you'll be getting something linked too. So.
Yes, sir. Today on the podcast, or this week in the podcast, depending when you're listening to this, we got a lot to get to. Obviously, this Sunday is Extreme Rules from the Prudential Center in Newark, New Jersey. It's no longer the Izod Center, so I don't expect the regular New Jersey crowd, as everybody's saying on these weekly shows. But
right, the Prudential Center, ain't it The Rock now?
Yes, it is The Rock. It's so funny how gullible these dirt sheets are. When they first had the advertisement of the pay-per-view going to Extreme Rules, they said The Rock is coming to host the pay-per-view. And full reports on Wrestling Inc., The Rock is hosting the Extreme Rules pay-per-view. Dwayne Johnson, coming off the set of Ballers, is hanging out with his friends. Please do some journalism for once.
It makes me wonder, though, Josh, is that brilliance on WWE's part by putting it out there, saying, okay, listen, this is the script for it. Make sure when it hits radio stations, you guys mentioned The Rock is hosting, so people go, oh my God. That's on us. That isn't on Dirt Sheets. That's on us, man.
No, I just think it's good trolling job by WWE. They're the masters of trolling their own fans, and hey, that's what wrestling is in a way. You got to evoke some type of reaction out of somebody. If you're like, oh, okay, then they're not doing their job right. If you're visually mad or you're overly happy, and then they're doing their job. So we'll talk about Extreme Rules later on in the pay-per-view as we close it out. Could talk about Raw this past Monday from the biggest state of Carolina, from the Greensboro Coliseum. We'll also talk about Money in the Bank, some of these scenarios for returning stars. Actually, we are going to start off with that, actually, because as you guys know from last week, Mr. McMahon had his conference call saying John Cena, Seth Rollins, Randy Orton, Bray Wyatt are expected to return in about a month's time. We all know Super Cena will be back on Memorial Day. Very fitting. U.S. man. By the way, I found it funny that they aired the Cena return video package before your United States champion came out. Come on, people. It's for people that think WWE tries to overcomplicate things. It's kind of in front of your eyes if you really look at the little things on this show.
Do you, Josh? Do you want him back in the United States title picture there?
Honestly, I feel people be bitching about Roman Reigns and John Cena to the cows come home if they just started that, or if he was in the main event scene. Well, I'm not gonna be naive and say it won't happen where John Cena will eventually be back in the top scene. I'm not stupid, and it would make sense for him when he's winding his career down to have another main event run. But what's more of a necessity right now? I know people are loving AJ and Roman's feud because it's fresh in the title scene. So do you want Cena to come back and you're like, oh, same old shit, old shit?
Yeah, no, exactly. I was talking about the United States Championship title picture. Like, I don't know if I would want. And listen, Cena did amazing things with that championship last year, but we can't allow. It can't be Cena making that championship all the time. And then the championship just instantly gets devalued as soon as he drops it. You know, that's why I'd rather him stay away from all titles and just have some sort of organic feud. Like maybe he comes back and someone comes out and interrupts his return. Like Jericho interrupted the Miz's return last year or whatever. So that's kind of where I'm at. I wouldn't want him in the. I have a different idea that I know it's not going to do the United States title any justice or anything, but it doesn't seem like they're taking it serious. And I have somewhere where they could go with it, but we could talk about that later on.
I had that scenario or something I wish could have happened at last year's WrestleMania where, depending whenever Nikki Bella graces us on screen with her presence again, I actually thought the love triangle thing with Cena and Ziggler would actually work out as a grudge feud where you give something for Ziggler to do. It makes sense. It picks up momentum for Cena on the heat side. You don't know which way he's going to stray. I wouldn't mind Cena versus Ziggler, to be honest with you.
I'd be okay with Cena Ziggler. You know what? I'm going to throw this out there. I would like to see Cena Baron Corbin. That's what I want to see.
It's not bad.
I think it would be there would be something to Cena coming out and saying the face that runs the place is back. Hit Baron Corbin's music. I get it, guys. People are going to say he's not ready, or people are going to say that he's not. But again, isn't this about building heat on Baron Corbin?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
And I think that he can come back and say, yeah, you might be the face that ran the place, but this is the new era. I'm the Andre.
My house. Yep.
Kind of just go with that a little bit. And then I think you really get that lone wolf badass attitude out of Baron Corbin that we kind of all really want to start to shine through. I've been hard on Baron Corbin. Don't get me wrong, Josh. You know that. Jokingly, I've been hard on Corbin, but I think this is a feud that would be awesome for them. I don't know. What do you think about that, Josh?
I think it'd be cool. Let me say this though. I know everybody's talking about the newest sensation in life, Paige and Del Rio's relationship, and how everybody wants Del Rio to say, "This is my house." Maybe it's me, but I wouldn't mind seeing Paige being alongside with Corbin.
Absolutely.
To be honest with you, this is something I thought about the last couple of days, and I think it'd be something good for her and Corbin. To be honest with you, Paige could I'm not saying Paige has to speak for Corbin or whatever, because Corbin in his own way can speak for himself. Actually, I mean, yeah, his wrestling is something to be left to be desired, but I think it's something that can work. But one question I do have before we go to the next scenario, Adam, any chance you see any of these guys returning on Sunday?
I don't think Sunday, but I think Monday we see somebody.
Okay.
I think Monday we see, because I think there's something to, you want to tell people about certain people. John Cena is a big name, obviously. You want to tell people because you want to get that casual fan back into it. I think if they threw someone as a surprise on us at the somewhere on Monday, maybe towards the end, so that you absolutely want to check in on the 30th or whenever, Memorial Day, for John Cena to make his return. Plus, look who came back at the end of the show last week. Find out what his motives are, aka Seth Rollins, maybe. So that's kind of how I would book that.
I just wonder if it's gonna be a bad PR thing to show constant guys coming in and out of surgery. Like you see Cena with his surgery. Who knows? Maybe for Rollins, when they advertise him to come back, they show the ACL thing he had to deal with. You don't want to do that with Orton or Wyatt. I get why they're doing it. It adds sympathy. There is a lot of good guys now. I remember for the last 3.5 years, it's been heel city USA, and you barely have one or two baby faces. But this next scenario, I'm going to tie two things together, and I think you may agree with me in this one. Only logical, and I think something that worked for both guys coming back, is Bray Wyatt as a good guy at the Undertaker role, but against Randy Orton when he comes back.
I'd be okay with that. I would much rather see fresh feuds from all these guys coming back, though.
It is fresh. They never had one match against each other, not one singles match.
Orton and Bray Wyatt?
No, not one.
Are you sure about that?
Yeah. Like they've interacted like Money in the Bank matches or multiple person matches, but they never had a feud with each other.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know if it does it for me though. I don't know. Well, I guess organically the Wyatts took Orton out, didn't they? Isn't that how Randy Orton got shelved?
Yeah.
Okay, so I guess organically maybe that's how. But at the same time, it's going to be hard to book any of these guys as heels, though. I think
True.
I guess it are bad guys, quote unquote, without an initial promo, or unless Randy Orton came out and took out the entire Wyatt family. Maybe the Wyatt family was in the ring cutting a promo. Oh, this adds. Would you put any of these guys near any championship titles right now? Let me ask that question.
If there's 2 world titles, I would have that be the world heavyweight title feud, to be honest with you. Yeah, that's the only way I can see, because I love what they're doing with the IC title picture. I want to make this perfectly clear. I'm looking forward to this fatal 4-way match on Sunday, but I feel like if you put the IC title on Bray Wyatt, it's like, oh, okay. Mankind has the IC title or something, you know what I mean? It's not popping at the screen for me, but here's the thing with me with Bray. I know a lot of people are saying Money in the Bank, but with everybody coming back, and then you're going to have Brock Lesnar, you have Triple H, everybody and their mother, Finn Balor is going to come up. The sad thing with Bray Wyatt and his career is that he always comes into bad timing issues.
Yeah.
Especially when he needs to go to that next level. So, I don't know. It's just an idea. I think it'd be interesting for the fans because the buzzers, the Viper, all that stuff. I think it worked for both characters, but
I think I would like to see personally once the fatal 4-way kind of crumbles as far as the Intercontinental Championship picture goes, which I'm with you. I love the fact that these 4 men are in the Intercontinental. I love that they have 4 guys. I love that entire mid-card picture right now. And I'm not saying that any of these men returning are mid-card talent. That's not what I'm saying either, guys. So please, before the buzzards come and attack me. But I think that in a way now, you look at Randy Orton, I don't think we need him to be anything more other than a guy that comes back to help put other people over. What more does Randy Orton have to prove in his career? In a way, you could say that he's above every title in WWE. You could say the same thing about Cena. You could say, I know Bray has never held certain titles, but in a way, his character is above certain titles, So, and with Rollins, again, he's that future shining star, the real shining star. He is Puerto Rican, I believe, right? He's the real shining star of Puerto Rico. Colby Lopez, I don't know if he's part Puerto Rican. I think I read.
Yes.
So I could be wrong, though. So if I am, I apologize. I don't know, man. I think that I would love to see a Cesaro, maybe like Cesaro Randy Orton. I know that, if you take the Intercontinental title out of the thing, Miz versus Bray Wyatt would be something I'd be interested in. And I know it's not, maybe just because of the mic work, I think would be, and Maurice being that wild card of she's never really seen or experienced the Wyatt family. So how would she react with Miz? And, that sort of kind of that chemistry. I don't know. I am just afraid that if they do put any of these guys back in the main title picture, whether it's against Roman Reigns or whether one of these guys wins Money in the Bank, people are going to complain. And that's no fault of any of these guys coming back. I just think that they're 4 talents that don't need to be in a championship picture.
Yeah, it's just bad timing.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing. And you know what? Even for something like the fall, hell, you don't have to do it immediately when they come back. You can do Orton and Bray in the fall. You can do something like Orton versus Kevin Owens in the fall. You can do Bray versus Sami Zayn in the fall. Who knows? There's many different ways you could go about it.
Now, are you getting the feeling that most of these guys, and I think with the exception of John Cena, are probably all going to be in Money in the Bank?
Yes. I do. We're going to talk about Money in the Bank a lot towards the end of this show because I really feel that Money in the Bank is actually going to be like pure money this year. There's so many different ways you can go about it this year, and different type of matches as well. I'm very interested to see where they're going to go. Hey, it's a good time, man. You have so many questions. You don't know where these characters are going to go, what feuds we're going to see in the summer and the fall. That's all I want in wrestling. I don't want to be steered in one way. There's so many different things that can happen. I think we're in for some good stuff. Yeah, you're going to have your hits and misses, but that's whatever. It's wrestling.
Exactly. And listen, the payoffs, sometimes the build-up it sucks and the payoff's great. Sometimes the payoff or the build-up's fantastic and the payoff sucks. Sometimes they both come together. We just got to kind of take the good with the bad.
True. Not bad here, but the last person we'll talk about before we go to Raw is Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins will be back to resign, rebuild, and reclaim his throne. Brother, I'll let you start first. I am a big Rollins fan, but I wanted to see what ideas you, my creative friend, have for Mr. Rollins when he comes back.
If it was a little bit later in the day, I would replicate Rollins' sinister laugh, but I can't right now because I'm still knocking the cobwebs out. But
yeah.
Listen, with Rollins, I think it's going to be hard to keep him traditional heel, kind of like what he was before he left. I think that we see a complete repackaging of Seth Rollins, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I think this is going to be like Triple H coming back off his quad injury. It's going to be a brand new Seth Rollins that is not going to be attached to the Authority. I think that we're going to get that very early. I think that we do see Seth Rollins versus Triple H, maybe at SummerSlam. I would prefer. Yeah, maybe SummerSlam we see Rollins versus Triple H. I know there's talks of a Shield versus the Club match, something that to that effect. But I think you put Rollins in Money in the Bank, and then you create a feud from that. I think that it's going to be damn near impossible, and this is where we'll end with this. It's going to be really hard. If we think it's bad right now with AJ Styles and Roman Reigns going back and forth, it's going to be excruciatingly difficult for WWE to keep Seth Rollins away from the title picture, which I think they should do. Have him win the Royal Rumble, have him go into WrestleMania against Roman Reigns, have Roman Reigns versus Seth Rollins at WrestleMania. I know a lot of people don't like that, but to me, that's the chase that fans are going to want. We're going to want to see that. So, but it's going to be very difficult for them. I don't know, Josh. What do you think?
To add to your point, I mean, how many times have we tried to get this actual Reigns-Rollins feud to happen? First time Reigns gets a hernia injury, he comes back. For some reason, he turns into the antichrist of professional wrestling. And then when he comes, when the second feud was supposed to happen last year, Rollins got the ACL injury, and then we had the funky tournament that happened at Survivor Series. So, yeah, I agree. I know people are going to say, oh, but come on, how about Dean Ambrose? How can you forget about the money in that scenario? Dude, those guys are going to be there for so long. And you know what I hate about today's wrestling fans is that everything has to happen right now. So a guy comes up from NXT, he's supposed to be the main event of WrestleMania next year. Maybe I'm old school in that way, but not every time somebody comes up new from the roster or from another company has to be in the world title feuds, or they're buried, they're this, they're that. It's so old and played out already, bro.
And you know what? And I know, and just because we constantly have to hear that on a weekly basis, I'm going to say this on a weekly basis until we don't have to hear it anymore on a weekly basis. But there's so much more in wrestling than who the WWE World Heavyweight Champion is.
Exactly.
My God, when I grew up, I had to deal with Hulk Hogan for 4 straight years, man. Like, it was torture. And even when he didn't have the championship, he basically had the championship at the next pay-per-view anyway. We only had 4 pay-per-views a year. So I had Hogan basically 365. It was, you want to talk force feeding? This is nothing compared to what it was like in the 80s, man, with Hogan. And Hogan, again, I'll keep saying it. He was all, basically, brother, this is all Hulk Hogan was. If Hulk Hogan didn't do this and wasn't wild and it wasn't the 80s and we weren't all having, that was Hulk Hogan, man. And, like, that was it. He wasn't a good wrestler. He was basically just a screamer into the microphone. So we don't realize how lucky we have it that we have a main eventer that maybe we don't like, maybe the fans don't like, but we're never going to like the WWE's hand-chosen guys. We didn't with Cena. We didn't with Reigns. We really didn't. And when you think about it, Austin he was organic. The Rock was the hand-picked one. So at the end of the day, people are more Austin than they are Rock. We never really were all in on who they picked as their guy because they look at the crossover marketability. So again, guys, until everybody kind of, and I know nobody's going to stop it with the whole Reigns stuff, but it could be worse. Try growing up in the Hogan era. It could be worse.
And honestly, like I told you many a times on the show, like for the whole narrative about him being shoved down your throat, a guy cuts a 3-minute promo every week. He's in one match. He's not on 10 or 12 different segments like John Cena was 5 years ago. That's being shoved down your throat. So to answer your point in this whole Rollins thing, here's the thing. I have a good meter when people are going to be like, oh, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. I can detect that bullshit from a mile away, my friend. So you're saying Rollins has to be a good guy. He's not going to be full straight on heel. Here's the problem with that, and I know you'll agree with me with this. The moment where Rollins starts being the good guy and fans start cheering him, there's going to be that crowd. There's going to be that fan base. It's like, oh, where's the fire in Rollins? Where's that edge to him? Yeah. Everybody's like, oh, he's just too good guy now. He should be a heel. Why did they make this decision for him to go back to be a good guy?
I love that. Thank you. Because a great point about that, and listen, guys, you guys all know that I'm a huge CM Punk mark. It's not a secret. I hated face CM Punk. There's no reason why they should have basically kind of changed so to your point, Josh, with this being the reality era, I wouldn't change a damn thing with Seth Rollins. Now, I would repackage him, new music, new attire. It's all about rebuild, redesign, reclaim. So I would, repackage him in that manner, but bring him back as basically kind of just like Roman Reigns, that gray area character that's out. Listen, I'm Seth Rollins. I'm here to reclaim what's mine. I'm going to do whatever I got to do. And he could still be that Randy Orton gray character, that Roman Reigns gray character, that whomever. Because in the reality era, Josh, like this is the perfect scenario of don't change him at all, and he will be over like Rover when it comes to fans.
Yeah, and I'm here to get my time back, and you better get the fuck out of my way. That's all I have to say.
If they make him a little bit soft, fans are going to flip. You know, I mean, they're going to be like, oh, this isn't the Seth Rollins we fell in love with. You know, so don't tweak the attitude, just tweak the aesthetic look, I think is what.
And I'm sure, like, let's say, like, Rollins and Triple H got in a feud, right? Like, Rollins will poke fun about how bad Triple H's character is run with the Authority. It's all Triple H's fault that this happened and that happened. It's like, I didn't want to end Daniel Bryan's career. You wanted Daniel Bryan's career to end. Something like that. But it's interesting. Like I said, we have 4 guys come back. There is interest in all 4 of these characters. I think Randy Orton out of the 4 is the one that feels like okay, I'm going to be more of a part-time guy. He's going to go on his way. Because honestly, there's really not that much left you could do with a Randy Orton character. But here's that veteran guy, like kind of like a Jericho, where he could fight these guys who are very good wrestlers and help them grow to the next level.
And dude, I think that Randy Orton's one of the smoothest cats in the ring too. I mean, he is so good in the ring, and just his veteran ring presence and his ring general knowledge alone. And listen, Orton's matured over the years. Like I know, 10, 15 years ago, but again, I think that's what we're supposed to do as human beings.
Yes.
So we keep holding Randy Orton, we keep kind of criticizing him for his past. And it's like, listen, the past 5, 6, 7 years, like this man's been a really good company man who's helped put other talent over, who's seriously one of these he's smooth as butter in the ring, man. And I think that there's so much that he could do. And do we really not want to see RKOs from out of nowhere?
Exactly.
Of course we do. But he's another one, like you said, I don't think he needs to be the forefront of the show. He doesn't need to be the forefront of a title picture. He just like Cena last year. I think Cena proved to a lot of people that you don't have to be in the title picture once you become a big enough name. And you can still be around on a regular basis, and I understand Cena was in the U.S. title picture. I get that. But he was just as exciting when he wasn't in the U.S. title picture. So,
yeah, true. And Randy Orton, I feel like I've been watching a lot of these Raws back on the Attitude Era. They got like all of 2003 Raws now, which is pretty cool. I saw a Raw I went to in Chicago, and he was Goldberg's whipping boy in Evolution. So Randy Orton has had his share of bad luck in runs that didn't go so well. The Goldberg World Title run. Let's just forget that.
Yeah, that was something, huh? Wasn't
it? By the way, the best part of that show, the country whipping match with JR and the coach.
Get stopped. I'm gonna get to some funny matches later on in the show, so we'll save those.
We listen to the Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast here with Adam Daley. We're live here on Wednesdays, every Wednesdays at noon Eastern. We drop the podcast later on Wednesday nights on iTunes and Stitcher. Just send us any questions if you like Ryan. Just send us a question via Twitter. He asked, who will Roman Reigns take on at Money in the Bank?
Probably AJ Styles again.
I could see that, but here's another thing I can see before we go into Raw. How about Roman Reigns comes out and he says, I'm the guy, I'm this, I'm that. How about Roman issues an open challenge of himself for the pay-per-view? I'm going to show up the pay-per-view. I beat the indie darling AJ Styles. I beat Triple H. Who comes next?
Yeah, I forgot about old Triple H there. See, I don't know if that's actually a really good question because I think it's going to depend on. I don't think we'll get to predictions, but I don't think that AJ Styles wins the title. I think it stays on Reigns, and it's
a good question.
It's a super good question because it's so reliant on what everyone else is doing for who's going to be in Money in the Bank. With everybody coming back, I can't see Rollins in a match that quick. I'd rather see Rollins in Money in the Bank because, again, It goes back to Shane McMahon saying, listen, you're not guaranteed these rematches. I don't care. You've been off TV now, 6, 7, 8, 9 months. You have to earn it just like everybody else. Just, I like that they're doing that. So I wouldn't want it to be Rollins. I wouldn't want it to be Cena. Styles, I admittedly really wouldn't want it to be Styles, but it seems like that's just the easiest way for the program to keep going. I like your idea of just having an open challenge. Does he maybe even have a match? He doesn't have to have a match.
True. That's a great point. And
6-man tag match. 6-man tag. The Club versus the Usos and Roman Reigns.
The Bloodline. That's what they call it. The small.
That's a good name too. Haters out there. I know we don't like the. I don't know we don't like the stable, but it's such a damn good name.
I want to make a point with the Usos because this is going to tie into my thoughts on Raw. I will admit during the fall, I thought the Usos were going through the motions when they made their return. It's like, oh yeah, they're there, they're having some good matches, but they weren't really trying. I will give them the credit for this past Monday because I saw a different edge to them. They had grittier face paint on. I saw a pep in their stuff, to be honest with you. I haven't seen that since their rivalry with the Wyatt family. And I thought Anderson and Gallows, despite losing the match, guys, they're heels. Ask Anderson and Gallows 3 months ago if they'd rather be traveling to Japan every other week and not spending time with their family or being part of the main event storyline in their first run with the WWE. What? Answer yourself that question. Because is it really worth debating about how Anderson and Gallows are being booked right now? Does it really matter?
Well, you know what? There's such a big picture involved. Like, okay, so everyone was basically saying then that they would rather have Anderson and Gallows taken out of this picture with the club and with everything and put into the tag team title picture.
Yeah.
So that, think about this. It's none of this then with the club and anything and none of this would be going on. It would still just be AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns, and where we would be going, this is boring. We know what's going to happen. They're in a better storyline.
Correct.
The titles to be over. We have to stop with this titles thing, guys. Stop. This man on this shirt, this man he is going to be synonymous with the Intercontinental Championship. And I know if you're listening on iTunes, I'm wearing a Mr. Perfect shirt. He will always be synonymous with the Intercontinental Championship because he made that championship relevant again in the era where he held it. He did not need the Intercontinental Championship. He was above the Intercontinental Championship, but he made it something bigger than it was. It's why that championship has always been my favorite title in WWE. That being said, he did that because he was a team player. Listen, Anderson and Gallows know, and I'm not saying, but they know right now they're being a team player and they're positioned better on the card. Yeah. They're positioned above the tag team titles, and so are the Usos right now. And Josh, I absolutely agree with you, dude. I think the Usos over the past couple months may have been doing their best work of their career, hands down. I think that I've been more invested in the Usos in the past couple months, and I don't know if it has to do with the feud that's going on. Or like you said, it seems like they have either a chip on their shoulder or a little extra skip in their step, so to speak. There's something to the Usos right now, and it's gonna. When we talk about dream matches, they're gonna actually, believe it or not, pop up in a dream match later on.
Yeah, and speaking of chip on your shoulder, you said it perfectly right there, because look, the Usos came back and they're getting treatment like Roman Reigns. It's real life. You have the family there. For some reason, people say, oh, WWE doesn't care about the Hart family. They don't care about this family. It always seems that the WWE only cares about the Anoa'i family. They get all the opportunities. You got Nia Jax. She's always fighting Bayley. It's always about the Samoans. I have nothing against Samoans, but there's that perception out there by the fans. And you know what? I honestly feel that the Usos are ready to say, fuck you guys. We put on great matches, and now you kiss the New Day's ass. You kiss Enzo Amore and Cass's ass while we're busting their ass trying to make the tag division look well. Yeah, we got injured. We come back, and then we get pushed to the side. Of what? Why? Because we're Roman Reigns' cousins? It's real life. Ladies and gentlemen, you can see it through their eyes. And speaking of booking, and nobody's brought this up, I've watched a lot of Anderson and Gallows' feuds and storylines in New Japan. They lost a lot. Understand that. Anderson and Gallows, even though they're part of the Bullet Club or whatever, they lost a lot. Yeah, they had title reigns, this and that in New Japan, but they lost. They're heels. They're supposed to lose.
There you go. And it's funny because I like that everybody, and I'm going to tell a joke because anybody out there, don't act like you didn't think it. So I've been following Carl Anderson for a while now on Twitter, but I'll admit maybe like a year plus ago, whenever I really first started getting into what Gallows and Anderson were doing and and all that stuff. Listen, you go on Twitter, it looks like it's Machine Gunka, right? And it's Machine Gunka, but there isn't a person out there. Don't tell me that you didn't think that at one point it was, who the hell is Machine Gunka? Then you click on it, oh, it's just Carl Anderson. But that's the thing, man. People don't realize that. Listen, Kevin Owens, for the most part, should lose more than he wins. And we complain when Kevin Owens loses because, oh, he's getting buried. But he's technically a bad guy, It's the same thing with Anderson and Gallows. They do a hell of a job getting themselves over and getting other talent over in the process.
I just think people need to get out of that old bubble, man. Things are different now, especially booking or whatever you want to call it. Hell, I don't even spend most of my time on these shows trying to go and break down booking because I don't know two beans about booking, and neither do you. It's all subjective. It doesn't mean anything.
It means nothing, dude.
You see no articles on Rolling Stone about the win-loss record or the 50-50 booking everybody loves to bring up all the time on these podcasts. You don't see Rolling Stones bringing that shit up or whatever news outlet. Nobody gives a shit about that.
It's because people aren't really just paying attention to the story. Listen, and that's why I think a lot of times, you know, when it's Raw and SmackDown, I do fast forward through a lot of the matches. One, because I don't want to see a lot of times just repetition isn't good for me, because then the pay-per-view matches mean a lot more. And maybe that's why I've been getting more out of pay-per-views, guys. Just because and I'm not saying these men and women work very hard, and there are always matches that I tune into. I make sure that I watch the women's division every week. I'm very invested in the women's division. And it's because I like seeing how fresh, how new, and the tag team division is the same way. Now, you know, and I always use Dean Ambrose as the example, not because I don't like him, but the turnbuckle lariat that he uses, or the rope lariat that he uses. I hate it. I hate it so much. I can't see it on a weekly basis. I can't see it twice a week. I just can't do it. I think it's one of those, Josh, where it's we look too much into it and just forget the story aspect of it. We forget the comic book. We forget they're interchangeable characters in a universe. That's why they call it the WWE universe, just like we call it the DC universe, the Marvel universe. It's like Batman's rogue gallery of villains. They're all in Gotham running around. Sometimes they run into each other. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're the big story. Sometimes they're the side story. We got to learn to deal with that now. It's entertainment. It's a show.
Plus, it's plot points, and I don't remember as a kid seeing people desperate for making No Mercy bigger than WrestleMania that year. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's plot points. Nobody was begging for Unforgiven to be bigger than SummerSlam. I mean, come on. Yeah, you have to be realistic. And what I love about what we do here on this show and what you guys do in Wrestling With, we talk about what's going on. We give our opinions. At the end of the day, what I appreciate about doing this show with you, the most brother, is the fact that we are able to look at the bigger picture. I can speak for myself for how I do my play-by-play articles, because, there's a lot of repetitions here and there, but I know why these storylines are happening, and most of the reasons why these feuds happen, you get that explanation on SmackDown than you do on Raw. Sometimes the matches on SmackDown are better than Raw. Maybe, you know, like I said, maybe people disagree with me. I got into wrestling because Jim Ross got me interesting. I feel that the commentary people are the key contributors to making your match look good, bad, or whatever. I honestly feel that. And maybe people feel the different way. You can watch a wrestling match for what it is, and you just go based off what the crowd reaction is. But I feel like Mauro Ranallo, it's got me more interested in these mid-card feuds on the stuff he's doing on SmackDown, and then what JBL and Michael Cole do every week on Raw.
And you know what? And a lot of that comes straight from backstage on what they're speaking into the headsets too. And that's the shame of it, is that. But like you always say, I think that, you know, Monday Night Raw is your top 40. It's your greatest hits. It's your telethon. Like you always say, it's your telethon. It's your pop. SmackDown for me right now has become like my rock radio station. So it's like, you know, I get my alternative rock, I get my rock or whatever. You know, it's not poppy. It's kind of a little grittier, like kind of like, you know, the subculture that I like. But I think people are missing out on SmackDown. Mauro is absolutely sucking people in. I mean, that's the one thing that Sam always says anytime we watch SmackDown is, man, he makes everything seem bigger.
Yes.
Everything has a bigger feel to it. And that's not a slight on Michael Cole or JBL or Byron Saxton, because it's what they're being told to say and not say. I did like JBL the other day, though, finally acknowledging, whether he meant to or not, or was supposed to or not, but he finally acknowledged that Roman Reigns doesn't get the most welcome reception. I thought that it was nice that they didn't try to push that away as like, oh, well, this crazy crowd here tonight. You know, I like that he finally said, like, okay, listen, he's just a guy, but for some reason he always this is the kind of reaction he gets. It's refreshing. Don't embrace that. Like you always say, embrace the hate. But dude, it's a big difference in how they put both shows on. But I think that, again, that's if you're unhappy with Raw right now, how many times have we said it? Watch SmackDown. SmackDown's good.
You find a way to get your fix in what you want to enjoy. It's that simple. You have the choice to not watch Raw, but you choose to go on every week. You choose to say what everybody else says on Twitter to get followers and make you look good on social media, and you're not. I feel at times people are doing themselves a disservice because I feel, and I'll talk about this when we go into that reality era topic I was telling you about. I feel people are behind the game more than they think they're ahead of the game, to be honest with you. And tying back what I said about the returns, look, think about the matches we're about to have on these shows in the next couple months with the fact Neville's coming back, Harper is coming back, Orton. You get the point. Look at the different feuds we could have, bro.
And I think that as much as we're complaining, and I don't want to say like, you and I, but as long, us as the internet wrestling community or just wrestling fans or marks or whatever you want to label us, I think that the biggest thing is that if we take a step back and really look at the stars that they've developed while these superstars have been gone. And I say stars versus superstars because Sami Zayn is a star. He's not a superstar yet. Kevin Owens has blossomed into a superstar. And listen, that's not taking anything away from Sami Zayn. I love Sami Zayn, but I understand what I'm saying here, guys. Cesaro is a star. Now he's finally being made into a star. He's not a superstar yet, but you put Cesaro in a feud again with John Cena like last year, or put him into a feud with Randy Orton, or put him in a feud with Seth Rollins. Whatever, the names that are coming back. Josh, we have we talk fantasy booking. We've had some stars established while these older guys were gone. These vets were gone. I don't want to say older guys. These vets were gone, and some young talent. But now we have some guys that are a little bit more well groomed coming back with ring generals, and the possibilities are endless. Like, we're on the horizon right now. It's looking really, really, really damn good.
Well, except the Dana Brooks of the world, but we don't have to get into
that. Yeah, I'm not, but I'm open-minded though, guys.
Yes,
I'm good to change my mind, but right now, I think Dana Brooke needs Eva Marie. Sorry, guys. My way.
Speaking of women, let's get to Raw. Overall, I'll wait later for your overall thoughts, but last Monday we got to see the women close out the close out Raw before. I'm kind of done with the whole go home thing. Go home this, go home. I don't know. Maybe I'm just done with the old wrestling bubble terms to analyze these shows. You know what I mean? But I see people. It's crazy. The hate towards the women for the fact that we bitch that we want women's wrestling to mean something. They give you a meaningful spotlight. Say what you want about the segment. I thought it was good. I didn't think it was all-time great or whatever, but the fact you see Charlotte out there with Natty, you got a contract sign, you got Shane and Stephanie, that adds another element to the thing. It follows up the backstage segments they had with Rick the last couple of weeks, and they've put a lot of time into this feud. Adam, they put a lot into this program. They added the fact that if Rick comes down to ringside, not only is he banned from the match, but Charlotte will be forced to be stripped out of the title. We'll make our predictions later on, but just seeing the whole thing and then seeing Rick snap in Greensboro, taking the suit off, doing the pat he does on his shoulder all the time, and then slapping. Shane's like, I respect you. And then Stephanie's like, well, you may respect them, but I don't. Slap them. And then Charlotte's about to go after Stephanie, and Natty gets her double leg sharpshooter to end the show. Natty races the title in her hand. I was listening to Busted Open yesterday. Natty said that was one of her biggest moments in her career, getting to end Raw with the title up in the air in her hands. Brother, what was your thoughts on the segment, and did you have the visual hate that some fans seem to have towards this segment?
Anytime the women's division finishes up Raw, it is an unbelievable deal, in my opinion. I think that listen, we've begged for this women's revolution, this Divas revolution. We begged, and we make sure that every time when Brie and Stephanie McMahon closed out Raw, we made sure that we talked about how big of a deal it was. When AJ Lee would close out Raw, we would talk about how big of a deal it was. When when Trish and Lita or Trish and Mickie James closed out Raw, or when this person or that person, anytime the women close out a WWE event, it absolutely is a big deal. There's men that can't get to that ladder of closing a show. Let's just call it like it is. And I'm not saying, oh, there's men versus women. No, but it has always been the land of the giants. It's always been a male-dominated sport. But they're already – okay, so we're 6 weeks past WrestleMania now, 6-7 weeks past Mania of the new era, quote-unquote. And we already have women headlining Raw in the 11 o'clock spot at Raw. So – I don't, and granted, whether the segment was good, bad, whether you liked it, disagree with it, how many times do we really actually enjoy the final segment of Raw? It's few and far between. It's very few and far between. But for the fact that the women took that role and main evented Raw, I think absolutely shows, yes, number one, the women's revolution has happened. It's in full force, guys. They're having a women's worldwide tournament right now. So let's take the good and leave the bad behind. Were there things I would change about it? Maybe, but we don't know where this is going to go forward. Is Triple H and just Josh? Let me pick your brain on this. Think of the different booking directions they could go if they chose to. Triple H could come back, upset everything that Stephanie's doing, banning Rick from ringside, making it and Shane's doing. So whether it's banning Rick from ringside or because we all know how close Triple H and Ric Flair are, right? So when he comes back. Is Triple H angry, upset? So there's variables with the authority with Triple H, all those that we can go play out, down the line. Does Ric Flair somehow get involved and cost Charlotte the title? Does that split Charlotte and Rick eventually? Does Charlotte win? Does she cheat the win and then realize, you know what, Dad, I don't need you? There's so many. Does Natty finally get the championship? There's so many different ways where they could, but we're so short-sighted on one little segment. Instead of analyzing the whole segment, taking a step back, looking at all the characters that were in the ring, and thinking all the possibilities of the spin-offs that we can do.
Yeah, and I feel that in an indirect way, Triple H has something to do with every feud that's going on right now. Mm-hmm. And nobody's going to point that out. Look, Shane, in a way, has raided Triple H's locker room in NXT for the last couple of months. You don't think he's going to bring that up? You don't think he's going to bring up, oh, you're going to try to make stars like Natalya relevant to take away my best friend's daughter's reign as championship? Come on, people. Like, seriously.
And that's the thing. If we're playing the reality era, these are things that we should always be thinking, right? I mean, because if it's going to be reality where we want the proverbial fourth wall torn down, to me, it makes perfect sense. I think that's why we're going to keep seeing Owens complain until Triple H comes back. Hell, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Kevin Owens win Money in the Bank, lose the cash in, blame Triple H, and then next year at WrestleMania, we see Kevin Owens versus Triple H.
Bro, look at this. You said it a lot on the show that Kevin Owens is kind of like the underground, heavy for Triple H. How many times have Kevin Owens in this IC title feud had to interact with Shane, and he gets in? Shane gets Kevin pissed off. 1 minute he's like, "Oh, we're gonna do the rematch of SmackDown," and then Owens is like, "Miz is the worst. Miz is the worst." And then the next second he one-ups that. He puts Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn together as a tag team on Raw, which is a hardcore wrestling fans' wet dream on television, and they're tag team partners. Speaking of that, what was your thoughts on that match and the fact they spent almost 35 minutes on the IC title feud for Raw this past Monday?
I liked it. I can see where people are starting to get or are going to start saying that Shane and Stephanie, it's going to end up being too much. I get that because on a weekly basis, they're going to have to make it somewhat interesting on a weekly basis to keep having this Shane and Stephanie trying to outdo one another or change the stipulations. I still dig it because, again, just taking it for what it is, enjoying the kind of back and forth scene. Okay, let's see what they're going to do next. But I like that they did switch it up because I think that putting Owens and Zayn on the same team, I think that it goes back to how many times can we see the same thing? How many times? So if you put Owens and Zayn on the same team, I haven't seen that yet. haven't seen that yet. So it's the little things like that, guys, that if you're going to keep these four men interwoven until Extreme Rules, do something out of the box, do something different, keep people guessing. So I didn't mind it. I didn't, overly think that it was the greatest thing. But again, if you're spending 35 minutes on the Intercontinental Championship title picture, I'm loving it. So
you're getting what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought the match was good too. By the way, I got to say this. I thought it was really cool to see Miz lay out everybody on SmackDown last week in that tag match. Having him stand tall over all those guys and actually him hitting the skull-crushing finale on Kevin Owens, I thought that was really cool. So we got to give props to Miz again.
The thing I like about that, Josh, and let me get your opinion on this, I like him hitting the skull-crushing finale on Kevin Owens because it really does show it's in today's WWE, there is no faces or heels. It's all for one, this one for all. This Roman Reigns, one against all kind of mantra. It really is that. They're really painting everyone with more of a gray brush than they are extreme heels and extreme faces. So that's where I really dig what they're doing. I know a lot of people don't get it, but Josh, I don't know. I like it.
I'll say this for Raw this past Monday. I thought the crowd was all right. They were into a lot of the things, and sometimes for me, like I take a step back and still be a fan. Yeah, I know I'm in the business of doing the articles and being part of the media, but I don't let that affect the way I watch the shows. I know it's kind of different for most of the media members. I always have to find something to write in. Hey, controversy creates cash. You're going to have people say, oh, I don't want to be that guy, but yeah, you're going to be that guy to bring in viewers or whatever. Yeah, for the moolah. Yeah, for the moolah. And, I thought the show was fine. I didn't think it was bad or horrible or anything. Was there stuff I could have done without? Absolutely. But see Tyler Breeze and Fandango as a tag team, hey, it's something out of the box. It makes sense with both of them. I would just switch to see Johnny Curtis back, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I kind of wish they would drop the Fandango gimmick, but dude, I think that it makes so much sense to have Breeze and Fandango with each other.
Yes.
I think that Breeze and Ziggler would have been another good one just because they look so much alike. Yeah. But at that point, why don't you just sign Ziggler's brother? Not the one that got arrested, guys, the other one. But sorry, it's too soon for that.
No.
But no, I listen, even something like that, the whole Golden Truth thing, I'll admit, I was kind of over it, but letting it play out and kind of week after week, it's the video promo did the other day, and I'll admit it was so cheesy, but I laughed through the entire thing. Like, I can't believe that I'm watching a video package with R-Truth. It's like an R-Truth Goldust love. Like it was so. The level of cheese was so great that I'm like laughing hysterically. Like it's not any. It's so kudos.
I'm getting a Team Hell No vibe from these guys. And you know what's interesting about that? The backstage segment they had where Truth was like, hey, we should be a tag team. Hell, the crowd was good getting into that too. The Golden Truth chants. Mm-hmm. Hey, most people's worst segments on the show, on these other podcasts you listen to, well, they're getting crowd reactions, so I guess they're doing something right. Ryan wants to know our thoughts on the Ambrose Jericho segment this past Monday. It's announced this Sunday that we'll have the very first WWE Asylum match at the Rock.
Yeah.
I'll let you go first.
All right, so this is where I just run off a bunch of really bad jokes to interrupt. So number one, listen, I spent a lot of time in Newark when I was a kid. It's an asylum in itself, guys. So, I mean, I think just claiming that this is an asylum match, it's just one big asylum pay-per-view. The Rock is one big asylum. Number two, probably one of the few people that have actually been institutionalized that's either listening to this or here, being in an asylum before. Unless you got some dude in a corner talking to a box of detergent like it's a human being and holding a conversation, or you got a nurse in there with some chick attacking her and some dude talking about how all he wants to do is build bridges. These are all things that, yes, ladies and gentlemen, these are all live characters that when I was institutionalized years ago. Yes, I've seen these people. I don't know, man. The asylum match I'll admit it doesn't do anything for me. I'm staying open-minded because I do think the match itself could steal the show. I completely agree. I think that this is just a cheesy gimmick. It's an over-glorified cage match that they wanted to hang props that they've used during this feud up. They wanted to put little Mitch up, like how Groot had to slowly start growing back. It's like a smaller version of Mitch. The straight jacket, the barbed wire 2x4. I don't know. Just calling it an asylum match seems to me like they just want to capitalize. And I know you said, and I'm not going to compare the two, but it's almost like just because the Great Khali was the Great Khali, they had to have a Punjabi prison match. This is like, so just because Dean Ambrose is like, it's the Ambrose Asylum, we have to have an asylum match. And by the way, guys, you always lose your own match. Keep that in mind. So I don't know.
I'm talking about strictly the promo. We got your thoughts in the assignment. I'm talking about the promo back and forth with Jericho. Did you like it or did you hated it?
Promo was gold. Again, I thought the promo was gold until it hit it's going to be Asylum. Then he had the music, the cage. But I think Ambrose and Jericho going back and forth on the microphone it's chemistry that we don't see as often anymore. It's two guys that know how to work a stick, and it's two guys that understand each other's characters. And I think that's what's important in today's era.
This is a funny story because you bring up Punjabi prison matches. I actually, unfortunately, was in person for the 2007 Punjabi prison match with Great Khali and Drax from Guardians of the Galaxy. So, ladies and gentlemen, want to talk about cornball and bad situations? Check out this match. By the way, another Chicago story. Backlash 2001. Jericho had a Duchess of Queensberry match against William Regal. So, look, I get where you're coming from. I do. There points that I agree. Yes. What I like about this match is the fact, and what kind of bothers me with the reaction towards this is that everybody's like, we want Jon Moxley. We want all the dangerous matches. We want the hardcore lunatic guy that he was. He's being a lunatic. Yes, something's missing with him, look, honestly, and it's my opinion, maybe people disagree with me. Dean Ambrose as a regular wrestler, just doing his own thing, being serious all the time, does nothing for me. I liked how his wacky promos were with the Shield. I will say that. I did like the stuff he did solely in the Shield. But him as a regular guy with the edge and all that, it does nothing for me. And I feel like, okay, yeah, do we need a mop in the match? Do we need the 2x4? But it's Extreme Rules. I mean, we had worse stipulation matches than this. That's my point.
Yeah, no, I look at it two ways. I think if it's an Asylum match, and this is just me, it's got to be closed in. I think that's why I like that they had that layer up top, because maybe we see them climb up top on top of the scaffolding too. So, yeah, I kind of dig that. But at the same time, if it's an Asylum, you're closed in. I think that maybe it should be a closed-in cage in some form. But the one thing about Ambrose is maybe I would buy more into the idea of this match if he was cutting promos more like when he was in the Shield. Because when he was in the Shield, he was more of, people love that Moxley character. He was more Moxley than he was Ambrose. The Dean Ambrose character, the one, if you watch the Shield documentary that claims to have been raised by wolves, and there's a lot of similarities. I get that kind of vibe. You wouldn't play off the crowd as much as he does. And I think that if he didn't play off the crowd as much, but was still – this past Monday I think was the best Ambrose promo that we've seen in a while, just because he kind of revisited that Dean Ambrose when they first came in as the Shield. So that's where I guess that I just don't want to see him pander to the crowd as much. So that, again, he's supposed to be more of the gray character, not Roman Reigns.
Hey, Jericho calls almost every city a dump. From my guess, Newark, New Jersey is a dump as well. So
yeah, I've spent some time. Like I said, it's an interesting place.
Yes, it all comes back together, doesn't it? It all ties back in. Yeah. By the way, Jericho calling every city's a dump is just pure gold. I thought it was kind of funny, though, that Jericho told Renee to hit the bricks, too, by the way. Especially when he's fighting with their boo.
And the simplicity in Jericho's promos, too, he's getting great heat, and it's simple. You stupid idiot is his catchphrase right now.
Stupid idiot.
You stupid idiot. You stupid man. Like, it's so simplistic, and it's just so effective. I think that's what people miss sometimes, is that sometimes simple is better.
I got a bonus for everybody listening to the podcast. I'm adding a old school John Moxley promo. And you tell me if you like to see those type of promos into Dean Ambrose characters. So I'm going to add that to the podcast this week, one of those old school promos. And you let me and Adam know if you like to see that type of promo in this character.
Isn't it going to be the one, I think, from CZW where he was just throwing titles away, saying, I don't care about these titles, I don't care about this title? Because that's a really good promo if anybody wants to look that up.
I'll look that up. By the way, there's an indie show, Freelance Wrestling versus CZW, in July in Chicago. I've never seen. I've watched the CZW stuff on YouTube, but I've never seen them in person. So
yeah, when they're live, just seen everything online.
Let's talk about probably the comedy segment of the year, or at least in the last couple of years. New Day's DeLorean. If we will.
Okay.
We've had a trip to Jamaica with bad accents, and hey, 2009 was my best year. And Adam, what was your thoughts on the New Day segment this last Monday?
I liked it, man. One of those where it's another one where it's just them guys are just going out there and having a blast. It's three guys, and this is perfect for the vaudevillains. And I think it tied in with their characters. Listen, again, it's about finding what works with the right characters. The vaudevillains are supposed to be these throwbacks. So what better way to go back in time? I mean, it's to me, it's just the little subtleties that make it funny and make it fun. But it did, again, I like that they had the vaudevillains kind of get over on New Day. I don't think that the vaudevillains are going to win the championship. Shout out to Aiden English. I didn't realize that he is a member of the Guerrero family. So big shout out to Aiden English. I dug it, though. I dug it. Again, it's another one where I know people aren't into – if they're looking for serious promos where, okay, we're going to get those too, but we have to be able to laugh at some promos too, man. We got to have the old comedy. Look, the New Age Outlaws, Road Dogg and Billy Gunn, their promos were never serious.
Correct.
Did they have some? Absolutely. But theirs were always more campy, more lampoony. I mean, it's Edge, Christian, same thing. I mean, this is, I don't know. To me, I think it's comedy gold.
I used to enjoy the first couple seasons of The Big Bang Theory, and I kind of got that vibe for New Day on Monday. It's funny, man. You ask those guys, they're probably having the time of their life. They got nothing to bitch about, to be honest with you. And good for the vaudevillains. I mean, like you said, I'm a fan of Simon Gotch, Aiden English. I'm really waiting for that music off between him, Colin Cassidy, and Xavier Woods. That segment will be gold if they have the music off. By the way, I don't know if you guys will talk about this tonight, but there's this growing discussion of whether or not New Day needs the tag team titles anymore. Little snippet for here, but do you think New Day needs the titles anymore, or do you think who needs it more in this scenario?
I don't think they need the titles anymore. I'm actually wondering when, and I know that they're still selling merch and everything, guys, but I think by SummerSlam, I think New Day might run its course. Yeah. But I think you have to have that established tag team to take the titles off them first. You don't want to just have them hand over the titles to the vaudevillains who might not be ready or that might not be ready. I think that you want to make whoever beats New Day, you want to make it meaningful, impactful, so that everybody's talking about it. Whether it's by hook or crook, somebody cheats to win, whether it's you're putting over the next big tag team, whatever the case may be. No, but I do agree. I don't think New Day needs the tag championships anymore.
By the way, I hope you guys enjoying the show so far. If you also like other good reviews for Raw, I'm sure other podcasts don't plug other people, but I will say check out at @puppet_tweets. The Puppet reviews for Raw is best for business.
Puppet is taking over the internet. Puppet's great.
Correct. I remember those old heel book trailers that they used there. I thought those pretty cool.
Let me ask you about this, Josh, while we're on Raw and while we're on some funny little gimmicks right now. where do you see them going with Darren Young? I have a theory what I would like to say. But if we're going to make Darren Young great again, Josh, I want to get your opinion first, and then I have an idea. But go ahead.
I'll give this a shot. I don't, just like the Shining Stars, I don't have a definitive side of whether I hate this or I love this. I will say that. Bob Backlund cracks me up when he said, "Wrestling is life." I just started dying laughing a couple weeks ago on SmackDown, and
he was like, "No, but my I got a clock right here on my phone, my clock," and he's like, "No, wear watches." I'm like, what the hell, man? Bob Backlund.
Can you picture if it was Virgil doing this? Like Virgil was Darren Young's life coach, and Virgil would try to make Darren Young great.
Yeah, I don't think Virgil should be anybody's life coach. That's a different story for a different time.
No, that'd just be called "Give Me My Fuck Money" instead of "Make Darren Young Great Again."
I don't think Virgil should be anyone's life coach. But okay, here's where I'm at with this, because if they want to play into this, and I am not happy that I'm saying this, guys.
Oh no,
please, I'm not happy that I'm saying this. But if you really want to capitalize and get, if you're looking to get heat on Darren Young, have him beat Kalisto for the United States Championship.
Yes.
And think about it, guys. He's taking the United States Championship off of a Mexican. They're running with Donald Trump's whole bullshit "Make America Great Again" gimmick that, like, and by the way, guys, if you don't think America is great, get the fuck out now. Can I say that? Like, if you think we need to be great again, if you're American, aren't we supposed to love our country? So just get the step in if you don't love this country already. Number two, how satirical on the political world would this be if all they're using is Donald Trump's gimmick and talks about building this giant wall for some reason in Mexico, because history tells us that's always been great. Have them take the United States Championship off of Kalisto, off of a Mexican. It writes itself. Yeah, they'd get heat for it. Absolutely they would. But isn't that what you want? Wouldn't that have people talking about the United States Championship again?
Hell, with the Glenn Beck stuff they happened a few years ago with Swagger and Coulter, I thought they should have kept going with that.
Absolutely.
Fuck the controversy. It's wrestling.
Absolutely.
Hey, and if people like Russo are so obsessed with the ratings, this is something I'm not agreeing with this. I'm not a fan of this guy, whatever. But if you want to get some heat with this, bring Donald Trump on Raw. I'm serious. Bring the guy on Raw.
We gotta watch with that.
I'm not voting for him. Like I said, I'm not a fan of the guy.
Well,
but these people are obsessed with ratings. They'll do anything for ratings.
My theory is that I agree. And listen, it would be a ratings grab, absolutely. Yeah. But I think there's something that then you would have to have, because Saturday Night Live ran into some trouble with this when they had a host, and it was basically because it was looked at as not giving other candidates equal time and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So if it was for a skit. But then would you have Hillary Clinton on there? Because no offense, I don't want either of them on Raw. So everyone can shoot arrows at me, but it's whatever. I'm voting for Gary Johnson like I did in 2012. So people, if you're watching, you can go like this. And that's not anything because it's just because I don't like Republicans or Democrats.
Correct.
So that's just getting that out of the way. But no, I think the gimmick alone is fine. Just please don't bring them. And yeah, it would be great for the shock or whatever, but I don't. But again, if you want me to take a presidential candidate seriously, they can't be on Raw. They just can't.
Yeah. Like I said, it wasn't an idea for me or something I want to see. I'm saying for those fans who are so desperate for ratings that they compromise their own ethics and morals just for the sake of money.
Niggas already going around praising Trump on different shows and stuff like that, so it wouldn't be out of the ordinary, brother. It really wouldn't be.
It wouldn't. But to your point with this Darren Young thing, I'm interested in what they're going to do tomorrow. I really am, to see what – I know there's a new vignette they aired. So, hey, good for Darren. He's getting some time on TV. It's something out of the box, and that's all we can ask for. Something different.
And there is a funny dichotomy going on with Bob Backlund and Darren Young, because in a way, and yeah, I know it's scripted, guys, but like for me, I like to imagine that it's not, because again, we're supposed to escape into this, faux reality of it. Yeah. And it's just, to me, it's like you can almost, like if you put yourself in Darren Young's shoes, you're probably thinking like, man, what is this dude talking about, screaming at me all the time?
Exactly.
Like, I don't know. There's just some comedy to it, to where I was skeptical when I heard that they were going to do this, but I think there's a lot of comedy gold behind it. And this is great for Darren Young because this isn't anything – this is something outside the box for him. It's showing his personality, and I've always liked Darren Young. I've always liked him. And Josh, do you think now that they're doing this with him, is this spelling the end of days for Titus O'Neil?
I know there's another batch of releases coming, and fortunately, I would not be surprised if the big man's gone.
It's time for he ends that too, since he's the habitual ender, I guess. So I guess they're gonna like the commercial. He's gonna get ended.
Yeah. Oh man.
I don't know.
By the way, I want to give a shout out to Acer giving a plug for us on the show. Thanks to all our good people checking out today's show. We appreciate it. Another thing, because I know a lot of people have been asking me, as I am the native Puerto Rican in this program here, everybody wants to know my thoughts on everybody's favorite travel agents, I guess. By the way, they're not travel agents. I know people like the gimmicks they're playing in Puerto Rico. Those are just suburban Puerto Rican people. It's not travel agents, morons. These are people like hipster douches that you would meet at a suburban Puerto Rico party in Carolina, Puerto Rico. By the way, there is a Caroline, Puerto Rico, for those wondering.
They're just Puerto Rican bros, right? It's just like Jersey Shore from Puerto Rico. That's all it is.
There you go. Exactly. They're the suburban Jersey Shore Puerto Ricans, man. Come on.
It's just laundry, but the Puerto Rican version. That's all right. I mean, it's not saying I like it. I'm just saying
I wasn't racially offended when people were saying travel agents, but I just looked at them and see how dumb they were. They're not travel agents.
I was calling them timeshare negotiators because they're really not travel agents. You're just trying to get people to buy into your timeshare too. Like, I come for a couple weeks a year, and so should you. That's fine.
I will say though, when's the last time we had like legit like jobber matches on Raw? Like we haven't had like local. You remember the key phrase they use a lot: local independent competitors on Raw. Hey, that's fine. Instead of having them come out and do something. Who knows? Let's say like the Shiny Stars came out and they fought New Day, and then like the Vaudevillains cost New Day to match, something like that. Hey, I'm fine with the jobber route here, but like I don't know, that pump handle brain buster move that Epico did on one of the guys was absolutely sweet. I like their finisher. I'll give this hope. I am biased. I want this to succeed for these guys because I do think Colognes do offer something in wrestling, not just Samoans or whatever other wrestling family that's out there. But I know everybody's desperate for Carlito. I saw Carlito at an AEW show, and a bunch of hardcore fans booed him out of the building. So there goes that. Adam, what's your thoughts on this? It different? Do you have any hopes for this or no?
In a way, I hope that this is just because they're doing this just because they had to listen to, why are you having a bunch of Puerto Ricans play Mexican bullfighters? Like, I hope this is just be like, all right, you want them to be Puerto Ricans? Here, there you go. Here's the cheesiest we can make them as Puerto Ricans. But you know what? I'm open to it. For me at least, I'm not going to instantaneously jump to an opinion after 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, anything like that. I like when they were building them up with vignettes over the course of the weeks. They did the same for Carlito. There was a time when like Carlito, Chris Masters, all them guys were coming in, Muhammad Hassan. They were getting built up with these vignettes first. And then once they hit, you kind of already knew them. I'm okay with them debuting against local talent because, like you said, Josh, you want them to get their first win. You have to see their finisher. You have to see their signature moves. And are they really? They can't beat the Ascension because Connor's suspended. They can't beat. You don't want them to beat anybody else right now because the tag team division is something special. There's something special there. So you want to, again, it's just showcasing what they can do, what their plans potentially are. Are they going to end up being the jobbers of the bunch? Probably. But I'm very open to what they may or may not be doing with these guys.
I don't know if you see the chat room in our screen right here, but I brought up another tag team.
Uh-oh, let me see. the social outcasts.
Social distortion.
Distortion. You know what? They could have. I'm in a way. What's going on with the social outcasts now, brother? With Adam Rose kind of being on the. Do you think they're going to keep going on with the social outcasts, or do you think that's a wrap?
Not only that's a wrap, but I'm pretty sure in a couple weeks, all 4 of those guys are gone.
Wow. I don't think Slater's gone. I don't
think Axel's gone, but I think
I hope Axel's not gone. The shirt says it all. I hope Axel is not gone. We need the Axe Man. You think Bo Dallas is? I think they would send Bo back to NXT before they release.
But we did this already, though. He was in the Rumble. He was supposed to be in the thing, and brought him back to NXT. I mean, it's not happening. It sucks. I think Bo is really talented. I think he's funny on the mic, but he just doesn't connect to the crowd for some reason. It just doesn't happen.
That's a good point.
One last thing on Raw. Like I said, I love the Usos, Anderson, Gallows match, but I want to get your thoughts on AJ Styles hitting the Styles Clash on Roman Reigns on the steel chair. There we go. We got the thumbs up. Yes.
How great. Now, obviously, guys, understand that AJ Styles is going to probably eat the biggest spear of his life on Sunday, so let's kind of temper our excitement here. But listen, all of us question whether or not Styles would be allowed to use the move. All of us question whether or not he would use it on certain talent. So this, to me, showed that not only do they have trust in Roman Reigns, they have trust in AJ Styles, because it's a two-man tango, guys. Remember, it's the person delivering the move, it's the person that's taking the move. You're protecting each other. And onto a steel chair to boot, I think that this is showing that they have confidence in both of these guys, their work rate, their ability. And it's a spot that we all wanted to see. So granted, we're not going to get the outcome that some of us want on Sunday, but it's another great spot in we didn't think that we would see it. We thought, Roman's going to kick out of this one again. But boom, then he hits it, and it's like, holy shit, they really actually did it. And again, we keep getting hit with these moments of, wow, I can't believe they did it, but we still criticize. I don't know, Josh. What do you think about it, man?
I want to tie this with my reality era topic for today. Reality era is what you see right now is the reality era in a way. No matter what you want to call it. I know some people still call it the PG era just because it's PG, I guess, but I used to call it the John Cena era. That's what I call it. I didn't call it the PG era. But this reality era is Shane McMahon and Stephanie and Triple H pulling the strings. We know who it is. There's not going to be a different type of authority figure because, it's unrealistic. Daniel Bryan's hosting Raw, but who's booking the matches? We all watch the shows now for booking and things that nitpick on these shows. And I feel like right now you're having a mix of everything for everybody. You're having really good wrestling matches. The feuds make sense. There's meaning behind most of the feuds that are going on right now. The IC title's interesting. I hope Rusev gets the U.S. title back on Sunday. We'll see what happens. We'll make our picks soon. But to tie this all in, reality era is basically everything we're seeing right now. You're getting the better light of it on SmackDown than you do on Raw most times. But I think the pay-per-views, like we said last year, have been really strong and held its own, with the exception of a few things. Like I said, nothing's perfect, but I think reality era is what we're seeing on TV right now.
And I think the biggest thing when people want to look at reality era, remember, just like reality TV, if you think reality TV is real, please take a step back and take a deep breath and kind of it's scripted reality, it's staged reality. It's you put a bunch of people in a setting, tell them what's going to happen, and hope they interact in a certain way. So I think with the reality era, the best way, and it is, listen, Chris Jericho, and as much as I know, guys, every week I'm talking about how great Jericho is, but he's really hit the button when it comes to this reality era. Yeah. 2 weeks ago, everyone was saying, oh, well, now that Jericho's run is over, let's talk about what he did, and is he going to be back? And it was back that night, guys, because he worked people, because you believe everything that you see on Twitter, on Facebook, everything that WWE puts out. I don't believe anything anymore. So that's why even I don't know, Josh, I know we and you were laughing about this. I don't even believe the whole, and listen, it might be true, but the whole Paige the Paige Del Rio Charlotte thing, all this.
Yeah.
Listen, so this could all just be made up so that the next feud seems like to get the crowd more into the next feud. It might be real. I don't know. I don't care. I don't care about their personal lives. To me, it's funny that we're talking about it, and it's, but that's the reality era. They can tell us anything, and we're going to believe it. We're going to drink it, the Kool-Aid. This is iced coffee, but we're going to drink it, but we're going to be like, oh, so ADR is the ladies' man in the locker room. That's it. It's like red pill, blue pill. We're always saying, we're like, screw it, let's take both, So it's
hey, Del Rio. Everybody wants Del Rio to say this is my house in Spanish. That's
craziness. Now people are just starting to get crazy with it. But I think the beautiful part about the reality era is that nobody knows real from fiction. Nobody knows fact from fiction anymore. Yeah. And that's the brilliance of what's going on. It's not predictable like it once was. They're not giving us, WWE logic. We always knocked. Well, WWE logic says they've ripped that up and thrown it to the wolves. And it seems like they're writing a completely different show, which is good. It needed to. There's no way wrestling could have continued the way it was into the late 2000s, going into the early 10s and everything like that. So I love what they're doing. I don't know. Maybe is that what people aren't seeing, Josh? Do you think that's it, that people aren't seeing that everyone's being worked at a 24-hour exponential rate?
Yeah, because when you're stuck in that wrestling bubble, you are in a situation where things have to be this way, it has to be that way, and if it doesn't go your way, you're going to go out of your way to react to it, whether you're Taz or Vince Russo or Jim Ross or whoever, and you have all these gullible sheep out there in the WWE universe who's going to buy every single word those guys are going to say. They dictate what is the narrative from these podcasts. No. Let me rephrase that, actually. They dictate our reactions in a way. Positive or negative.
A lot of times, yeah.
Hey, there's a gray area, and Taz has been ranting and raving the last 3 weeks over the fact that, it has to be good guy, bad guy. They're getting a reaction out of him. They're working Taz. A guy who's wrestled for over 15 years, a respected guy, a respected commentator, is being worked on worldwide television and on CBS.
Well, I think that's the beauty. And again, there's
nothing wrong with a gray area.
There's nothing wrong with a gray area. And if they want it to be reality, and listen, guys, I know it's more of we're watching a kid's show, let's face it. But when we go to the movies to watch Captain America Civil War or Suicide Squad or whatever, we're going and we're watching kids stuff. It's just that, and again, I know we talk all about it. It's just now it's not taboo to be a nerd as you get older. And let's face it, guys, wrestling fans are nerds. We all are nerds. If you're a hardcore wrestling fan, you're a nerd. Just like me, and just like all of you at home. And it ain't a bad thing. But I just think that I do think that the business model had to change, dude, because you can't have that. We can't have the constant John Cena versus Randy Orton, Cena the good guy, Orton the bad guy. And it was getting to a point where Royal Rumble 2014, people were chanting, "We want divas" during that match.
Yeah. Look at Roman Reigns versus Sheamus.
Yeah.
Good guy, bad guy. that didn't work. Hey, it's not a bad thing. It's not a good thing. It's the thing.
It's the thing. It's the new thing. And yes. I'm okay with that, though, because, look at all these. We had a Batman versus Superman movie, which I still didn't see, and I know that they end up really teaming up and blah, blah, blah. But when you really think about it, who would have thought, okay, did we ever think that we were really seeing that as a movie? When you have two superheroes against each other. So, yes, I think you can book. I think the more realistic you make it seem like it's a barroom brawl, like it's just two entities, like it's UFC, it's better. It's better.
Yes. Yeah, the clear-cut good guy bad thing is so passe. It's becoming a joke right now, to be honest with you. Let me say this before we go to our Extreme Rules predictions. If I had to ask you and Sam, I don't know if she's still here or she's roaming around somewhere, but what's the one thing that's like getting you really excited for what's coming this summer in wrestling? Is it NXT? Is it anything else in wrestling? What's floating your guys' boats?
I don't want to speak for my beautiful wife, but I will say that, yeah, Seth Rollins returning is probably the biggest thing that she's looking forward to, in more ways than one. I think more so than over Randy Orton, or a possible Punk, return eventually. I think that she, right now, her guy is Seth Rollins. I'm not gonna lie, me too.
It'll be here before you know it. That's the great thing.
I cannot wait. There's been something for me, and I'm not saying for everybody, guys, but for me, there's been something missing without Seth Rollins around. I am a enormous Rollins mark. I think that if you guys have kind of have known me now for quite some time, when the Shield debuted, Rollins was my guy. I'm an old Tyler Black fan. And it's just something's missing without him there. So I think that whenever they bring him back, what their plans are, I'm interested to see what their plans are, what direction they're going to take his character, and what's in store for Seth Rollins. So I think for me, yeah, all the other returns and stuff like that, but for me, it's one person, it's Seth Rollins. And I cannot wait for him to come back.
I agree, and I think that Seth Rollins could kick pure ass, and we're going to see a different Seth Rollins. Who knows? I wonder what J&J Security have planned for him as well. No, I'm kidding. I couldn't agree with you more. I think Seth Rollins is going to be the man. I'm honestly just excited to see what the summer and fall has in store, just in wrestling in general. I'm loving what Lucha's doing. New Japan's still doing what they're doing. Adam Cole is now part of the Bullet Club and Ring of Honor. Oh, God. I had to deal with a match which I was actually looking forward to with Drew Galloway and Bobby Lashley last night that ended up going the Vince Russo special of a lumberjack match. We have somersault planchas into the lumberjacks. We have top rope superplexes. We got 6-7 feuds colliding in this world title match on free television that I wanted to see. We got Dixie Carter. We got Al Snow wanting to make wrestling great again. He's ranting and raving about fans. I want to stress this point. If you really think Raw and WWE is so bad, look at what I had to endure with every Tuesday night. Seriously. And enough!
It's a shame because there's talented people in Impact or in TNA or whatever the hell they're called. I still say TNA. They call it Impact on Pop. Whatever it is. Belated birthday shout out to Mike Bennett. I'm a huge Mike Bennett and Maria Kanellis fan. And that's so upsetting to hear because I'm a big Galloway fan. I'm a big Lashley fan. EC3 I'm a big fan of. But, brother, what's it going to take for them to finally connect the dots with TNA? The talent is there. The talent is unbelievably there. So I can't imagine that it's not a talent issue. How do we fix it?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm watching WCW Velocity or whatever shows John Gaborik used to produce for WWE. It's brutal, man. It's brutal. Let me bring some positivity in here. I want to pitch this scenario to you, my friend, and I want to get your thoughts on this. Opponent for Brock Lesnar for WrestleMania next year for me is Nakamura with Paul Heyman.
Ooh. Two former IWGP champions, if I'm correct. Yes?
Yes, sir.
Would I like it, but would it catch on with the casual fan?
Yes.
Think it would?
Yeah, Nakamura has that charisma where he's talking or having Paul Heyman. Think about this. Paul Heyman is looking for the next big thing, right? Paul Heyman brought Brock Lesnar to where he is. Paul Heyman could do the same thing for Nakamura on the WWE stage.
I think that we are giving America too much credit. I think the rest of the world would embrace it, but I think that we still have a bunch of Bubbas and hillbillies in this country that would go, I don't want to see that Asian wrestle. Oh, I want me an American in there. And unfortunately, that's how it is. And I'm saying it as a joke, but let's face it. What's the highest an Asian competitor has ever gotten in the WWE? Realistically, and Yokozuna don't count, guys. My man Samoan. So let's talk about We've never had. I mean, it's because of Americans. It's because of the way Americans see people from different countries, see people all over the world. And this isn't anything against Nakamura, and it's absolutely nothing against. I would love to see the match, but I don't think your southern states, your lower Midwest, your corn country and farming and all them, the good old boys, they don't want to see no Nakamura in that wrestling ring.
I get your point. I really do, bro. That has money written all over the table. Yeah. But at the same time, WrestleMania is in freaking Camping World Stadium. By the way, oh, good God. So are we having tents and s'mores at WrestleMania next year? Am I gonna be in the press box and I'm gonna see everybody making s'mores and having tents in this freaking dump?
That's what they get for coming out with Camp WWE. So of course now it's gonna translate overseas. It all comes full circle yet again.
It's a dump. I'm sorry, people in Orlando. That stadium is a complete and utter dump.
I was at WrestleMania 24, and the section right above us is where the cable broke and went into the crowd.
No.
And listen, I don't like the placement of the stadium, but I think that the layout for the stadium I thought was fantastic. I
like the set design they had.
Yeah,
I always kill it with that.
It was I really enjoyed WrestleMania 24, and it wasn't fun getting out of it. It took like 3 hours to get a cab out of there, but other than that, it's just the location sucks.
Hopefully, third time a charm. I'm pretty sure we'll see each other in person in Orlando.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Got it. Isn't that the big number, 33? Everybody that gets the joke.
33. By the way, the Jay and Silent Bob of wrestling talk. Okay.
Basically, yeah. We have more inside jokes, I think, than people will ever catch on to. Yes.
You can't deny the chemistry me and Mr. Daley have on air.
I prefer to be called Brody Bruce in a way because I think I'm more like Brody Bruce. Yeah. I'll go with that.
Yeah, we could work with that. That's fine. Let me say this before we go to Extreme Rules. I am looking forward to seeing Neighbors 2 this weekend. I'm looking forward to that. I've been playing a lot of the old Nirvana songs. I actually had Breed down the other day. That song is a doozy to play. I don't know how Kurt Cobain did it. He just found the crappiest guitar with the weirdest tuning in the world, and the strings just never broke, I guess. That's something I had to deal with.
You're right, yeah. I wish I would have had the patience to keep playing, but I tried to play for a week and got frustrated. I was younger, and I was like, yeah, music just isn't for me.
Yeah. That's crazy. My mom was like, oh, you're not going to be a guitar player. You got sausage fingers. It's never going to work for you. I've been doing this for almost 14 years now. It seems to be working fine for me.
Sausage fingers. That's not like that.
Yeah. You're not the only one that can do self-deprecating humor.
Exactly.
Extreme Rules coming up on Sunday. I'm doing the play-by-play article this Sunday. That's going to be a lot of fun. Always. Anytime I could avoid looking at Nimrod's soliloquies on Twitter during wrestling shows is always best for business for me. Adam, brother, are you excited for Sunday or no?
Yeah, man, anytime we get a pay-per-view, and listen, I know a lot of people start with anytime there's a pay-per-view now, and regardless of how it ends or finishes, everybody was always like, well, felt like Sunday Night Raw. Yeah, but if it was a good show, who cares? Of course it's going to feel like Raw. It's the same setup. It's 3 hours. It's, they're going to advance storylines, but pay-per-views are different now. They're not pay-per-views. They're events. They're on the network. It's right. It's an edgier version of Monday Night Raw. So I do get people's argument with that. I understand that. But it is a little bit edgier, and it's another peak in ultimately in where storyline curves are going to go, and storyline arcs are going to go. So they're important chapters in stories. That's all, guys. So unless it's one of the big four, which I put money in the bank in the big four now instead of Survivor Series, but unless it's one of the big four, we really shouldn't look for these. Listen, we should look for great shows, but let's not make it seem like it's going to be this earth-shattering show that's going to shake the world of professional wrestling to its core. That's not what Extreme Rules is for. That's what Money in the Bank or SummerSlam or WrestleMania, those pay-per-views, that's what those are for. The Royal Rumble, but I'm excited. I mean, look, Ambrose Jericho. As much as I knock the idea of the Asylum match, absolutely, it's going to be a great match. Intercontinental Championship match, the Fatal 4-Way. Yes, please. My only wish is that it was an elimination match. Sans that, I think this is another match that could steal the show. Roman Reigns and AJ Styles. I'm sorry, guys, and I know people were tired of hearing me talk about Roman Reigns, and I'm not a fan, but the internet is making me a Roman Reigns fan slowly, just because of the reaction he's getting. But this is going to be another 5-star match. It's going to leave. Nobody's going to like the ending, but we're going to love the match. So.
Correct. Mm-hmm. I think Rusev and Kalisto are going to have a good match, despite Kalisto's title reign being irrelevant. I think those two are going to have a great match on this show.
And I think Scarlett and Natty are going to have an amazing match.
Me too. By the way, I think Fabrice versus Golden Truth may be the second pre-show match.
I love Fandango and Fabrice together. I'm sorry, Fandango and Breeze together. I love it. I love it.
Oh man. Yeah, we have Baron Corbin and Dolph Ziggler. That's probably going to come in a no DQ match. WWE Network feud. Hey, that's kind of different. A WWE Network feud.
And you know what? I actually don't mind it being on the pre-show because it's showing that they're gonna invest in Corbin the right way. Again, I've been harsh on Corbin, but I think the WWE is doing the right thing with him. They're slowly building him as this brooding monster. Where I do see a pretty bright future for Corbin. My personal feelings aside, because of characters or whatever, I think they're doing the right thing with Corbin. I really do.
Hell, you don't need Sunday Night Heat, but when you have Mauro Ranallo calling the pre-show, you can make it interesting. You have a separate feud for that pre-show. So, I mean, I have no problem looking at Renee Young on the screen. I mean, she's good at what she does, but you have some side feuds on the side like that. You have Fabrice against Golden Truth, and then you have Corbin and Ziggler. Hey, that's fine.
Not that they're being called Fabrice because they're so fresh is what they should use. But I'll skip that. What match are you most looking forward to Sunday?
I am looking forward to Roman Reigns and AJ Styles. I am. I am also interested with the fact they did add Anderson and Gallows against the Usos in a Texas Tornado match. That's a new match that was just announced. It makes sense. Hey, we talked about it last month at Payback. We thought Anderson and Gallows were going to fight the Usos on that show, so it makes sense here. They'll probably have the end of that rivalry there. I don't think, like you said, I don't think it'll be the end of Roman and AJ, but it is time for Extreme Rules. I have a cool scenario to see how this AJ Roman feud continues. Okay, all right. Let's start off with the pre-show. Corbin and Ziggler. Who you got, my friend?
Because they pulled the wool over my eyes last time and gave it to Ziggler, I got to go Corbin again. Just because I think that this is where they're going to start getting Corbin over, in fans' eyes, so to speak. So Corbin with the win.
I'm going to go with Corbin. Next feud for me, I say John Cena. No. We can do that later on. Refresh, rewind. Corbin against Randy Orton.
I like that. I'm still, and I can't believe I'm saying this, I would like to see Baron Corbin versus John Cena.
I would too.
I can't believe I'm sitting here, and this is, I must be.
You wouldn't say this.
I feel like Rick James talking about Charlie Murphy drop kicking my ass. Like, this is insane. Ain't life a bee sometimes, huh?
Have some pancakes, bitch. Oh God! If you guys haven't seen the Chappelle Show, please it's a must, especially the old school stuff. Me and Adam bond over the player haters ball. Always.
Making the band too is always a great one too.
Dylon, and Dylon.
It's that hot fire, baby.
Yes, man, that bitch got dolphin teeth.
He does too. He got that dolphin teeth. That ain't no joke.
A little relation to wrestling. Recipes Patrice O'Neal. He was a former WWE creative writer, actually. For those who don't know, Patrice O'Neal was actually a former WWE writer.
You mean the comedian Patrice O'Neal?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Are you serious? That's something I didn't know. Wow.
Yeah, I found that out on the old Opie and Anthony video clip because he used to be on that radio show a lot, and he talked about it. Yeah, that's. I was surprised by it. I always enjoyed his work. He was really funny to me. He'll definitely be missed. Let's go to the next match here. I think a probably logical way to start off the show is definitely Owens, Zayn, Cesaro, and Miz. Who you got?
Oh, I know this is going to make everybody hate me. The Miz retains again.
If given the time, I think this could be a match of the year candidate. That's how good I think this match could be. If given the time. I say if, and I always have this saying on my sports show for those who check out the Sports Drive, if my mother had balls, she'd be my father. So that's what I think about the word if.
Let me ask this. What do you think for this match then? What do you think the sweet spot would be for time limit as far as how long do you think they should give them?
20, 25, somewhere around there. I say like 23 minutes at the max, somewhere around there.
Minds think alike. I was going to say 20 to 25. I think that's the sweet spot for this. Not including entrances, guys, not anything like that. I think this is good only because Fatal 4-Ways sometimes can be a little bit cluttered, but these are four guys that seem like they really have their finger on the pulse of this match, and the chemistry between all four of these guys is great. So I think that if they give them 20, 25 minutes, this is going to be an outstanding match.
I'm going to go with Cesaro here, and here's why. I think Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens can continue their own thing. Like we said a bunch of times on the show, that feud can continue on all the way to SummerSlam. Nobody's not going to be not interested in that feud, even if they don't have the title attached to it. But here's my thing. Miz loses the title, but he was never pinned. He has a logical reason to be pissed at Cesaro and to keep their feud going. I have Cesaro picking up the victory in New Jersey this Sunday.
Which is probably what's going to happen, to be honest. I don't know. I just, for some reason, I feel like, and I'm going to be wrong about this, guys. But I think we're both in agreement, though, that Owens and Zayn, neither of them are going to be anywhere near the title then.
They don't need the title. To be honest with you, that feud doesn't need it. Do I think Owens and Zayn will be in Money in the Bank? Absolutely.
That's my thing. I think that if Sami Zayn were to become Intercontinental Champion, and I'm not saying, listen, Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn can't constantly be feuding forever, but we're going to probably see them feud in the Money in the Bank match. And you can have the Intercontinental Champion in the Money in the Bank ladder match, maybe, but you'd probably want that as a separate match.
Yes.
So if Sami Zayn, Sami Zayn could cost Kevin Owens Money in the Bank, even though I think Kevin Owens wins Money in the Bank. But if we want to keep this going a little bit, we don't want the title on Sami Zayn yet. I think SummerSlam is when you put the Intercontinental Championship on Sami Zayn.
And also at the same time, don't forget, let's say like the Miz and Cesaro feud stuff ends there, right? Like. You don't have to do that. Let's say by the time Neville comes back, you could actually have the Miz-Neville feud that was actually going to happen earlier this year. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That's something that could work too. Neville's the one who was supposed to win the IC title at WrestleMania this year, but he had that freak injury, man.
And that's the thing. The injury bug has really shuffled a lot of things around. But at the same time, look at the brilliance of what we're seeing now with Miz and Maurice.
Yes.
So would we have this if it wasn't for these injuries? Who's to say? Maybe not. None of us can really know. But I don't know. To me, and listen, I was huge on Cesaro, and I love Cesaro. I'll admit I don't like the whole 00 Cesaro gimmick. I think
you don't like it now?
I hate it, actually. I hate that he's constantly wearing a tearaway suit. I hate that he comes out with to me, this runs its course super quick. And that's what scares me about this is I want Cesaro to be a big-time player going forward. This gimmick is going to run its course like that. And I don't know.
Probably forget about it too in a couple months. Anyway,
yeah, absolutely. But I mean, I guess that's I know, and I know I'm IWC guys, but I don't like the Cesaro gimmick right now.
I don't think his promos have been that great, to be honest with you, either. Yeah, I know you need the material to work with, but hey, Cesaro's in these good matches, so that keeps his momentum, interest on the show. Going to the next match, we got New Day versus Vaudevillains.
Whoa. You still there?
Yeah, I'm here. You hear me?
Oh, there we go. New Day versus
New Day versus
it's just slowed up a month. New Day.
New Day.
I think they spent the past month just making the Vaudevillains look like a threat so that they have something going forward. But I think this is New Day. Yeah,
I think New Day's going to win as well. I think Vaudevillains is kind of like a placeholder thing for now. And I also see the Dudley Boys getting themselves involved in this scenario coming up soon. So I think kind of like a ladder type of match at Money in the Bank would work. Let's say like you had New Day. Here you go. Here's some booking for you guys. New Day, Vaudevillains, and the Dudley Boys in a ladder match for the tag team titles. You have New Day, Dudley Boys, and Vaudevillains in a triple threat tag team ladder match. I don't know, maybe something I think would be cool, something different.
Yeah, no, I like that. I like that idea.
Yeah. Let's go to the Anderson, Gallows, and Usos Texas Tornadoes match. So basically, there's no tagging in and out. The match will drag. It's just pure utter chaos. I don't think there's any this like countouts or DQs in this match since it is an Extreme Rules stipulation. I got Anderson and Gallows picking up the victory in this one.
Yeah, same here. I got to go with Anderson and Gallows. Get them guys their first pay-per-view win. And then that way it softens the blow when AJ Styles doesn't win at the end of the night. Or, listen, for all we know, they can make the Usos come out of this look strong and Roman Reigns come out of this look strong. And I know I'm overusing this intentionally, guys, just to upset people out there. But, I think that right now it seems like it would make more sense for Anderson and Gallows to win.
Also, by the way, there's a funny clip on radio. For those who know who Mike Francesca is, he's a New York sports radio host, and he had this like whole thing on the radio about Tom Brady, and he felt that he did the whole Deflategate thing, and the fans like, no, he didn't because it was a kangaroo court or something like that, some really odd thing, and he's like, Francesca asked the caller, he's like, Did he or did he not order the balls to be doctored? And the fan was like, no. And he's like, no, what do you mean no? I love those ones when sports radio people snap. No, what do you mean no?
A better question would have been, hey, what NFL quarterback hasn't doctored the footballs that they
Correct.
Used? That would have been
yes. Brett Favre.
And listen, you know what? It's almost like, and real quick, let me branch this off into like translate this. Listen, guys, all of you that don't like Roman Reigns, that's fine, but he's the champion. Just like all of you don't like Tom Brady and want to throw shade on him, that's fine, but he's the best damn quarterback in the Super Bowl era. I know a lot of people don't like that, but he's the best quarterback in a system that was built around him. He didn't fit into a system. A system was built for him. So don't tell me he's not the best. And again, you still watch the NFL every year. You can't wait for that team to beat the New England Patriots every year, right? Are we all on the same page?
Yes.
That's why Roman Reigns works as champions, guys, as a champion, guys, because he's giving you that something to hate. Think about this. People still think that Ben Roethlisberger is a better quarterback, and he's not. And this is a man that has 4 alleged rape cases against him. Tom Brady, the worst thing he did was deflate some footballs. Give me a break. It's just people love to hate on Brady because he's the best. Is Reigns the best? Listen, this could be subjective. But
it is subjective.
But here we go. He is right now the champion. And just like ESPN loves to play Tom Brady stuff or send poor Rachel Nichols on Brett Favre's lawn every summer to see what he was doing. It's, again, controversy creates cash. People want to see Roman Reigns lose, so we're going to keep watching until he loses.
Oh, by the way, Roman Reigns was on SportsCenter last night. Good interview, by the way. If you guys missed that out, Roman Reigns with the coach. By the way, I would love this if they came back on the network. I would love something like Live Wire, like kind of like a morning talk show thing where you have it on the network. You have fans call in, or whatever. Hell, you could do it daily. You could have pay-per-view Friday prediction thing where you just have a bunch of fans call in or Skype in or whatever and give their predictions for the show, something like that. Obviously, I'm sure they won't go into booking or whatever like that, but hey, they did Bite This. They did Livewire. I don't know, especially with today's marketplace with podcasts and all this stuff, I think it'd be something good for the network. Would you be interested in that, Adam?
Yeah, you know what, it would I think depend on the format of it. I really enjoy what they do for pre-shows of pay-per-views when they have, like, say, Sami Zayn backstage or Kevin Owens backstage and they're responding to tweets and stuff like that. I really dig that. I don't want to get too deep into it where they're tearing down too many walls, but I almost, if it was a Stone Cold podcast met social interactivity, you know, I would be absolutely cool with something like that.
Yeah, like you could have a certain star come in a certain day to Stanford and do an interview like that in there. Yeah. I take a couple calls. I'm not over like calls like a sports radio thing where you're having people pitch their creative things and blah, 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 blah. Or I'm not going to be put in a position like Todd Grisham, like, he's like, oh, TNA, call them, they suck. Something like that. It's just an idea for the network. But let's go to the next match. We have Charlotte and Natty. Bro, I'm going to be honest with you. I actually think it's going to happen. I think Natty wins, and then Charlotte splits with Rick.
Nah, you know what, dude? I'm torn with this, and I was torn last month. I got burned last month. Never bet against the Flair. So I'm going with Charlotte because we don't know who the referee is going to be, A. And B, I think this is where Charlotte can get the win and say, listen, I did it without my dad. She can be the dirtiest player in the women's game and kind of, listen, if you're going to do it and you're going to do it with Flair, you're going to cheat the win. So you know, there's no stipulation against cheating, you know, and there's no just a wild card out there because of Emma's injury. And, you know, I'm steadfast. I think Dana Brooke needs somebody else with her right now. Maybe put her on Charlotte. Maybe she comes out and interferes, and her and that, you know, interferes. She kind of takes out Natty and helps Charlotte get the win. She's not banned from ringside, you know. But either way, I do think that Charlotte does retain.
Let me ask you something. Who would you like to see Charlotte feud with next? Because I don't think the Sasha Banks thing is happening right now. I think you know what? Kind of like NXT, you don't see certain wrestlers every single week. You don't see certain wrestlers on takeovers. I think it's fine to have Sasha back in that mix heading towards SummerSlam. But in the meantime, who would you like to see Charlotte go against next? Because I'd like to see her against Paige, to be honest with you. Yeah, no, it has nothing to do with Del Rio, you dumb marks. I just be interested in that feud.
Right. One day, and listen, this has nothing to do with anything. But one day, I was in the shower, had my thing on random or whatever, and I didn't even realize it was like 3 minutes into Del Rio's entrance theme that I realized that it like kicked on shuffle, you know. So I'm just in the shower, just jamming. What am I doing? Like, this didn't even make any sense, and it took a while, but yeah, that's my life, ladies and gentlemen. So no, I think you're right, dude. I think Paige is the next, should be the next challenger. I'll be honest, I really wanted it to be Emma. I think it would have been a nice transition period where Emma didn't have to win the championship. It could have bought some time to develop the women's division a little bit more underneath of Charlotte too. It would have helped develop Emma even more and her character even more. So I think the timing for her injury couldn't be worse. I'm a huge Emma fan. I hope speedy recovery to Emma. But I think, you know, Paige does make the most sense right now. It pleases everybody that wanted it to happen anyway. And now it really plays into WWE's dirt sheet hands, because I know the WWE doesn't like dirt sheets, but at the same time, they sure as hell love playing into them. So,
yeah, I just don't think we're going to see Charlotte and Becky again. I don't know if people want to see that back and forth again, over and over again. So.
No, plus Becky can do better things with other people right now. You know, the women's division to be like the men's division. We wanted to have those lower card matches. We want different feuds all the time.
Yeah, she's getting TV time, so it's not like she's in the middle of nowhere. But that's an interesting thing, though, with this women's division. There's so many talented stars now. People are going to be like, unless you have a constant fatal four-way every pay-per-view, you feel like certain women are being left out or buried, I guess. I don't know. Have you noticed that or no?
I like the fact that people are complaining that Sasha Banks. Why is Sasha getting buried? Why? And you guys realize you have to lose matches to be buried, like quickly to be buried, right? That's
no. You have to be on Superstars and main event to be buried.
Yeah, basically. But yeah, she's just off TV right now, guys. And there's no. I keep saying it. Absence makes the heart grow fonder, and it's one of those. Whenever she comes back, she's gonna be hotter than ever. And it's one of those. Look at Russell. The pop she got at Mania was second only to Roman Reigns, and the Austin HBK moment. That happened.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this. Before we go to Ambrose and Jericho, Money in the Bank, good choice or bad choice to have it in Vegas? I'm curious because, I don't know, sometimes I look at the cities and where these pay-per-views are at, and I wonder if it's going to be good or not. I don't know. Maybe that's me, but do you like the fact that it's in Vegas?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it – to me – I think they're getting into Vegas now just because the T-Mobile Arena and getting in there and all that. I mean, I think it has more to do with that than anything else. But they seem to do a little something extra every – I don't know. I always liked Raw in Vegas because they do Raw Roulette and they do that kind of stuff. So maybe I'm just – but I don't know. It's a great tourist spot. It'll be interesting to see what kind of crowd they have, though.
It'd be interesting if they did that and then do the Thomas and Mack Center Raw Roulette the night after. That'd be something that'd be pretty cool. Let me go to the next one here. Jericho and Ambrose, the silent match. I agree with Adam, like he said earlier. Most people that have their own matches do not win. So in this case, I think Jericho's sticking around, and I'm going to go with our man. I think we're going to go with Jericho on this one.
Yeah, I'm going to keep picking Chris Jericho while he's around. So I'm just always going to pick Jericho. From now on, I just want him to keep burying people. So Jericho in 3.5 minutes. But I'm going to go with Jericho on this one.
True. Finally, we got Roman versus AJ Styles. We got the toys out. Mago. Yeah, we got the toys out. Mago. I don't know if it'll be better than their payback match. I love their payback match. I'm really curious to see what they're gonna do. Roman said on the interview last night on SportsCenter that they got something special planned for Sunday. I have a scenario where they could keep this going, but in a different element. What do you see go down on Sunday?
And I've played like 80 different scenarios through my head, from the Usos turning on Roman Reigns to Anderson and Gallows turning on Styles to, just basically Roman Reigns taking out everybody. But I think that at the end of the day, we see a lot of chaos, and we see Roman Reigns, again, end up just winning, and he'll end up getting the pinfall win. So I see probably about 4 or 5 Superman punches, the big giant spear, and then, Roman Reigns retains. I would hope, and I know, listen, I would, as a fan, I want to see AJ Styles win. But if they want to invest all this time, money, and they're driving us insane, and crowds, they're getting crowds to a tipping point of boos, keep running with it. It's working, so don't. Mm-hmm. I read rumors that Vince might be ready to throw in the towel with Roman right now, and it's like, please don't. You have people that used to hate Roman Reigns and still don't like his character, but I enjoy what they're doing with him right now, and I think they're setting him up in good feuds. His matches we've been invested in his feuds and his matches. Don't screw with the formula, because my fear is that if they take the title off of Reigns now and they say, okay, well, the experiment's done, they might ruin Roman Reigns forever. And what I mean by that is we may never be able to take him serious as far as from fans go, and that's not fair to Roman Reigns. That's not fair to WWE creative. That's not fair to us as fans, to anybody.
Absolutely.
Let them play out what's going to play out. And remember, guys, your favorite doesn't have to win for it to be a good match. I think it's going to be an excellent match, but Roman Reigns retains.
Oh, absolutely. And I feel like you said, people are interested in their matches. There's more of a 50-50 split now. I hear more Roman chants than I heard 3 months ago, so there's something to that. And I think the match is going to be good. And look, one way down the road, like I said, there's still 2 world titles. I would think AJ Styles would have been the world heavyweight champion by now, but that's not the case right now. So I think Roman's the right guy to go within this scenario. I don't care who wins the match, to be honest with you. I'm just looking forward to the match, and I just think it's going to be badass, and that's all I could ask for. So,
and with AJ Styles, another loss makes him an even bigger good guy. If they want to keep – there's no faces or heels. But listen, the more that – if he loses again, the crowd's going to go nuts, and they're going to want more AJ Styles. But we got to remember, AJ Styles is nursing some injuries, though, too. So do we want to put the title on AJ Styles? Right? But that's different scenarios.
Extreme Rules coming up on Sunday on the WWE Network. By the way, check out the season finale of Edge and Christian's show. Really bummed that the season's come to an end. I do love that show. That's definitely a must watch. By the way, before we wrap up, I do want to say thank you everybody for checking out. Really do. Your support means the world to me. It means a lot to Adam. Check out Wrestling With tonight. A little bit later after 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check out Adam's work on Wrestling Warm-Up on WrestlingRumors.net. I'm doing play-by-play articles at WrestleZone.com. I'm covering Lucha tonight, SmackDown tomorrow, and then Extreme Rules on Sunday. We'll have the podcast on iTunes. That's where you can find it. You can check out the replay here as well. Tell a friend here on YouTube if you like what we're doing here. Yeah, it's unfortunate you have to see our mugs here for 2 hours, but hey, we hope that we made your guys' experience enjoyable today, because I had a blast, and I'm sure Adam had a good time here as well. So make sure you follow Mr. Daly on Twitter at AdamDaily13. Make sure to follow the lovely Sam Daly at SamDaily13 at Wrestling With. Got shout out to the good buddy Ronnie Starks, who couldn't be here today, but hopefully he'll come on next week. By the way, speaking of next week, I want to save my Money in the Bank scenarios for next week's show, so it'll be better time to go into those type of topics. But Mr. Daly or Mr. Crosby, let me ask, any last words for our good Pete's that checked out today's show?
Yes, I do, just because we had a question sent in and actually wrote some down, so let me squeeze these in. Potential dream matches. I think yes. So I just wrote 3 down real quick that are feasible. Daniel Bryan versus Kurt Angle. The Young Bucks versus the Usos, believe it or not. Awesome Kong versus Charlotte. And I'm going to give you an alternate, and this is going to have a stipulation: a CM Punk versus Roman Reigns, no social media blackout match, so that you're forced to watch the match and enjoy the match. And I know everyone thinks that Triple H would be the right pick or this, but I would love right now to see CM Punk versus Roman Reigns and have nobody be allowed to use social media. So you just have to sit there and watch the match and not complain the whole time. But I do have a couple nightmare matches that we've already had to live through, just for humor purposes. Hogan versus Warrior at WrestleMania 6. Guys, get over it. It was 60 minutes of rest moves and boring nothingness. Lesnar versus Goldberg, WrestleMania 20. And pick any, Judy Bagwell on a pole / King Bobby prison match. There you go. Those have been the nightmare that we've had to live through.
All right. For me, I'm going to go Sasha Banks versus Bayley versus Asuka versus Charlotte. A 4-way match. That's 1 for me. 2, Nakamura Lesnar. And then number 3, AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. That's the 3 for me. And then nightmare matches. Oh, God. John Cena versus R-Truth from Capital Punishment. For those on the WWE Network. Number 2, Ricardo Rodriguez versus Santino Marella tuxedo match from the obscure No Way Out pay-per-view a few years ago. And then number 3, probably the worst match of them all. Good God. Big Show, Akibono, WrestleMania 21 sumo match.
Yeah, that was bad. I forgot about that one. That was
terrible.
And then real quick before we leave, Josh, in 1 week on the 25th, so that's a week from today, After 75 years, we will find out the true identity of Joker in Batman comics. I am not happy about this, but this is a big-time thing. And you guys know I talk about Joker every week anyway. So, yeah, it's a great year to be Joker, especially when Joker's going to end up being either Thomas Wayne or Batman's long-lost brother.
Yeah, make sure to check out Gotham as well. One more episode left, right? Or two?
Season finale Monday night. So Raw will be second fiddle once again to Gotham.
Hey, unless you watch it, that's all I care about. So we actually get the information, no matter what time it is. Hell. By the way, I do want to say this. Also, season finale of Empire tonight for those who enjoy the show. I sent a couple songs Adam's way last night. I don't know if you enjoyed it or not, but Terrence Howard's a pretty good musician in my point of view.
Oh, yeah. And he already has an Oscar, right? He won an Oscar. It's hard out here for a pimp. Yeah, he won an Oscar. That's when Oscar went, what?
What?
Paul Mooney. And I know like 3 people watching this know who Paul Mooney is, so that was a reference that's going to go over everybody's head.
Make sure to follow Adam at Adam Daley 13. I'm at WC Josh Lopez. Check out the podcast. It's Josh Lopez Wrestling Podcast. You'll find it on iTunes. It's pretty simple. Check it out on Stitcher. Tell a friend. If you like what we do, let the peeps know in the wrestling universe, because this show is for the professional wrestling fans, and we love doing this show for you each week. For Mr. Daley, nice seeing you, good sir. I will talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. Thank you, everyone at home, however you're listening. Thanks for putting up with our shenanigans this week.
And we'll be back on next week. Enjoy Extreme Rules. Enjoy some wrestling, and we'll see you rad bastards next week.